Welcome to another computer build, and this one is going to center around a new stream encoding PC, which is going to go into there. Right now that's actually got an Asus Q87M-E motherboard. It might be a corporate stable model, I'm not 100% sure, it probably is, but it's got an i7 4770 CPU, among other things, but the CPU is the thing that I want to upgrade. Mostly just for the sake of upgrading, because this stuff was pretty cheap, and I can use that i7 to upgrade something else. So I have a unlocked 9700K, which I think I got for less than $300, which is pretty good, all things considered. So it should be quite the nice little upgrade. This is the motherboard, which I got for less than $100. Normally these cost almost double that. These CSM, corporate stable model boards. It's pretty old news, however, that's why it was so cheap. But it should be more than good enough for what I'm doing. Anything I'm going to do, it doesn't even come close to maxing out the Haswell, let alone this. I don't remember what this actually is, if this is Coffee Lake or what this is. I'm not familiar with the Intel stuff. I've been AMD for quite a while, so I haven't even really built computers for many, many years. And of course, a cheap Nvme Ssd. I'm putting these in pretty much all my builds now. Not this one in particular. I've got a lot of the Western Digital ones, but this one was cheaper, and I figure if we're going for a cheap build, might as well throw that in. I've got some DDR4 RAM laying around. That's what's going to go into this. My one concern is that out of the box, these do not necessarily support, similar to the Aorus build that I just put together, do not necessarily support the 9th gen CPUs. There's a specific BIOS revision that needs to be on this in order for it to do so. I'm hoping that this is going to have that revision on it. But I guess if not, I may have to go out and buy an 8th generation chip. These don't have the Q-Flash Plus, or whatever Asus would call it, on them, unfortunately. So we're stuck with what we have. I'm hoping it's going to work. Won't be surprised if it doesn't, though. Here's a look at the motherboard with its green PCB. It's a very strange layout of SATA plugs. Not sure why they did that, but whatever, that's what they did. Well, place this cover when removing processor or returning motherboard. A little bit of English there, I think. Of course, it's got the 8-pin. I keep calling them 4-pin. It's the 8-pin, what they used to call the EPS 12-volt connector, but I guess now they call it the EATX 12-volt connector. I don't know. Extended ATX? I didn't think that that was a thing. I'm pretty sure that extended ATX referred to a whole different size of motherboard rather than this. This is just standard micro ATX. It is nice to see that it looks like it uses standard screw holes. It's not like the AMD boards, which are quite a bit smaller for some reason. I don't know why. And Asus is also fond of these new style mounting posts, which I guess are supposed to be easy install and remove. I don't know, heaven forbid that actually breaks, to be quite frank about it. It's actually got 2 NVMe slots. It doesn't support the uber long ones, but that's not what this is. At least I don't think that's what this is. Yeah, this is just a 2280, so this should fit just right in there. No questions asked. Yeah, nice little self-contained computer. There's the Nvme Ssd installed. I put the heatsink on it. I don't think it needs it. I don't think it's that high performance, but it has it, so we might as well just use it. Here you can see the CPU is now in the socket. I'm still not a big fan of these. These seem extremely flimsy and cheap to me. And of course, like with the newer one, this doesn't include a heatsink. And in this case, I'm not too sure that Intel has much of an excuse, because this is only a 95-watt TDP chip, as far as I remember. I mean, yeah, it's the K SKU, but does that really matter? So I'm going to have to grab some random heatsink. I'm just going to use this one for testing. It's got a copper core. It should be more than good enough. I'll have to clean it up, obviously. but I want to run it for testing because I want to make sure that this board is going to support this chip out of the box. If it works, I'll go ahead and I'll install a proper cooler. If it does not, then I'm going to have to do some other work to find the RAM. I'm not really sure where the RAM went. Oh, I found it. It's sitting right here. Not anything particularly fancy. Just some random DDR4. It's only 2400 megahertz, but again, that should be more than good enough. I think the existing system is only 1600. So, that'll be quite the improvement. I think I'm going to just use the existing Windows install as well. I was going to upgrade it to Windows 8.1, and I may still do that when the new capture card arrives, but I figure for right now it can just use the old. Since I'm not changing any of the other hardware, it's just the CPU, the RAM, and the SSD. It should be fine. I hope. I guess we'll find out. Okay, here it is. The temporary setup. Including the temporary heatsink. Somebody's going to complain about it. I know they're going to, but quite frankly, it's temporary. You know, I want to make sure that all of this is going to work before I waste my time installing a proper heatsink. So, anyway, for a quick test, it should be fine. That's what we're going to do. If it works, I'll put the proper heatsink on it. If it doesn't work, then I guess I got more work to do. But, I think it's time to stop yakking and get this ready to go. Okay. Let's see what it does. Like I said, this is a quick test to make sure it posts and nothing more. I don't know where the power switch is. And I don't even really know if it's going to work. I think this might be off down here. Nope, that's on. So that's not promising. Here's the power switch. What the heck is going on here? Well, I better remember that that fell. It's got power. So why won't it power up? Where's the power? Hang on a minute. Okay, I got it. Hey, it does work. Cool. Everything looks like it's set up. New CPU installed. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to put on a proper heatsink. And then we'll go to configuring this thing. Here we go. Here's a proper heatsink. I'm not doing overclocking, so a smaller Hyper T2 should be more than good enough. So, unfortunately, it does still use these rather dumb plastic push pins, but whatever. So I gotta set this cooler up. See, the AMD is so much nicer. You can just put this thing in the middle of it and clamp it down, and it works so well. But no, with the Intel, we gotta use this crap. There we go. There's a right proper heatsink. Like I said, though, it's too bad it still uses these dumb plastic push pins. It'd be nice if they came out with their own. I mean, I know the Hyper 212 has got the nice spring-loaded system. Maybe they don't need a spring-loaded system quite like that, but the Deep Cool Theta 20s have got a pretty decent spring-loaded system on them. I wish they'd use something like that. But either way, I think we can power this up now. Hopefully. See if we can get the tool with which to do so. It is on, right? Makes like no noise. There we go. Here's the setup utility. Obviously it's not running in XMP mode, but everything else should be good. So I'm going to set this up to my liking, and then we'll try and boot something on it. Okay, I've tried to set this up similar to all the systems at work. It seems to work for them. Heck. So we'll save changes and exit. Maybe. I hit the right key. Save configuration. Yes. So it should shut down. Then power itself back on. And with any luck, it'll actually boot to the network. See if it will do so. Because there's nothing else for it to boot to. Hopefully it will work. Okay. So I want the Reflect Rescue CD. We'll try and reload the image that I just took the other day off of the stream encoder onto this. Okay, we're loading the image from the backup. We'll see if this will actually work. The one thing that gives me concern is that there are no drivers for this board other than Windows 10 drivers. I'm really getting tired of manufacturers that think it's funny to not include drivers for versions of Windows other than 10. You know, they assume that you want to run Windows 10. What if I want to run 8.1? 8.1 is still supported for another 2 years. So, quite frankly, I think that it's retarded that you're not including drivers for supported versions of Windows. That's stupid, you know. Especially a company like Asus. You've got more than enough people working for you that you can just get that done. But I'm going to take a hard line with this one, and the encoder computer will not be running Windows 10, no matter what. So, if Windows 7 and 8.1 are not going to run on this without driver issues, then this hardware is going to go into something else. I could think of other uses for it. It can go into the closet and be used as a wireless bridge and do nothing, and just sit there and feel sorry for itself for being so stupid that it doesn't have proper driver support. So, yeah, that's a thing. Doesn't really matter where I put it. I'm just really going to be wasting the hardware. You know, an i5 would have been a better choice for the kind of workload I'm going to be putting this thing under, but the i5s weren't available. It was just the i7, so it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's see what Windows 7 does on this hardware. Almost certainly won't run. But hey, a man can dream, right? Yeah. What a piece of crap. Dang it. And here I thought this was going to be so easy. Okay, I'm going to backpedal on my anti-Windows 10 rant a little bit. Because you only live once, quite frankly, and Windows 7 didn't work on this. Probably because of the Nvme Ssd. I'd rather be running 8.1, but if we're going to have to do a fresh reinstall anyway, then we might as well just use Windows 10. But I'm telling you what, if it doesn't work with that capture card, and I suspect it probably won't, either out of the box or with minimal fuss, i.e. an existing driver because you cannot download new ones, then it's not going into the encoder computer. It's going to be going elsewhere because I'm not putting up with that. I've got far more important and pressing things that I can use my time with, rather than wasting it trying to force hardware that's, quite frankly, demented to work with things that it's not really designed to work with. So, we're not doing that. Ah, yes, the wonderful part of setup where I get to say everybody's favorite 2-letter word. No. No. We're gonna flummox that later, so we'll say no. 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 We're getting everything ready for you. We'll see how many drivers this thing is going to need out of the box. Probably not very many. Since this is a pretty old platform at this point, all the drivers should be built into Windows. Then again, you never know. Windows 10 is usually a little better about drivers than Windows 8.1 and 7 were, though. It's like the only thing that it's actually good for. That and the updated task manager. Okay, so I think I've pretty much got the software portion of things, with the exception of some final setup for things like OBS and broadcast using this tool and all that other stuff. The final importing of profiles and whatever that needs to be done, that can be done later. But I'm going to hold off on installing this into anything until I get the new capture card. I may even see if I can scrounge up a case from somewhere. I don't know where, but see if I can scrounge up a case. I wish I didn't install this giant tower cooler at this point, because I could actually have put something like one of those, what do they call them? These things. These coolers. These are very nice coolers as well that I believe are good to 95 watt TDP, so it would have been fine. Could have used that and put it into an SFF case. But I don't know if an SFF case would be really good for what I'm doing anyway, so we'll see. But needless to say, I'm not going to put this to use until the new capture card shows up. So that'll be that for the time being. So we'll revisit this video once that takes place. But at least for now, the hardware seems to be stable. I guess time will tell how many Windows 10 deficiencies and bugs I'm going to have to thwart. Probably a whole bunch of them, because that seems to be the way that it goes with this crap. I don't know, they've never really managed to get Windows 10 working properly. It's kind of amazing just how dumb it really is. At least 8.1 with Classic Shell is somewhat usable. There's still some UI stupidities, but it's workable. This crap, not so much. You just find yourself fighting with all of the automatic crap that Microsoft thinks is so cool. Okay, so it's been a little bit. In fact, it's almost been 2 months, and this hardware is still not being used for anything. You can see here I've gone ahead and added a proper video card, a proper video card. I've also added a PCI Express capture card. But I've decided that I'm not going to put this machine into the studio. The low-end radio studio, because I don't want to mess with that system. Just because I've got a feeling that if I change it over to a Windows 10 system with a new platform, something is going to go wrong. And I don't want to screw with that. So at some indeterminate point in the future, it's possible that this may end up as a stream encoder computer. But for right now, I'm going to replace the capture PC with it, which is due for an upgrade. And then I'm going to use the capture PC hardware to upgrade my secondary capture PC, which is in that HP Media Center PC case. That hardware is more than due for an upgrade. So, because that's a first gen i7, so that needs to change. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get all this stuff cleaned up, get that system out, and we'll change this hardware over. I believe that I've got everything I need. Even if I don't, I have this thing here. It's not a big deal. Okay, here's the existing system. Existing capture card, existing everything else. Let's tear this thing apart and get all this stuff out of here. And then put the new one in. Okay, time for the rant. But modern hardware. You knew it was coming, and here it is. I don't usually swear in my videos because I like this to be a family-friendly channel, and I'm going to bleep it all anyway for my own enjoyment. But I gotta do this with passion, because this, my friends, is what we in the industry call bull-f***ing shit. Okay? What am I going on about? Alright, so I've got this all torn apart. You can see I've at least started. And then the thought occurred to me that maybe before continuing, I ought to take a look-see at what ports I have available on the new hardware. And just make sure I've got everything. I've crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. I almost said dotted all the T's and crossed all the I's, but no, that's not what I mean. Okay, what do we got? So we got an onboard audio front panel header, okay, standard. 2 COM ports. I think 2 is a little excessive, but okay, it's a business-oriented board. Fine, no question there. LPT, again, no question. I think that's supposed to be a TPM that's not populated there. Whatever. Not gonna use that anytime soon. LPC debug, that's a proprietary thing. No interest in that. Whatever, it doesn't matter. There's a USB 3.0 header right there. Again, standard. There's a USB 2.0 header right there, and it looks like there's supposed to be two USB 2.0 headers, but one of them's not populated. Could also be a FireWire connector. I don't know. There's some jumpers. There's the chassis intrusion, as well as what I believe is the connection for the case speaker and the front panel. Okay, whatever, fine. What do we got elsewise? Well, there's a fan header. Another USB 3.0 for some reason. And that's it. Are you f***ing kidding me? There's one USB 2.0 header on this entire board. It's a business motherboard. Are you serious? Okay, can you riddle me this? When is the last time you saw a case with more than one USB 3.0 header on it? Or a connection point that would require more than one USB 3.0 header? I've never seen that in my life. And I've worked with some pretty high-end cases. Server cases, gaming cases, whatever. You name it, I've probably seen it. And I have never, in my entire f***ing life, that spans 25 years, seen a case that's got two USB 3.0 headers. Nor have I ever seen a peripheral. And by that I mean card readers, front panel devices, fan controllers, whatever the f*** you want to put there, that uses 3.0. None of them use 3.0. If they use any header, it's 2.0. So they've all got to share this one measly goddamn motherfucking USB 2.0 port right here. On a business motherboard? Are you me? Is this for real? Like, am I living some kind of a dream? Can I pinch myself and wake up and check this board that was sitting up there when I wake up and find that there's two headers? I don't think so. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Now, I know what you're doing in the comments right now. You're stopping the video and you're telling me, dude, quit your b***ing, they got adapters for those. Do they really? Number one, I'm a little peeved with the fact that they couldn't be asked to actually give you one in the box, because there's two of them for some unknown godforsaken reason. They didn't give me one. I don't have one, so I can't put this together anyway tonight, which ticks me off enough. But where do you actually buy the fucking things? You can't buy them on Amazon. You can't buy them at the local computer store. You can't buy them anywhere but eBay. You gotta go on to eBay. I gotta get them shipped from fucking Vancouver. And when I'm making this video, there's been a lot of stuff going on in Vancouver. I don't know what the hell is going on over there in Vancouver. I don't know if there's shipping delays out of there. Probably not. Certainly not by now, since the issue was in Abbotsford. But the simple fact of the matter is I gotta get these fucking things shipped from Vancouver. I can't just walk into a store and buy them, like the YouTube comments would have you believe, which is the kind of thing that drives me nuts. So anyway, all that rant aside, that I really did not want to go on, it made me feel better. I can't put this together tonight, so now I gotta plug all of the shit that I pulled out of this and plug it all back in. Which may or may not even work. I gotta make sure the system even still works. I've had issues with this video card, so who knows if it's gonna work again. And then I gotta put this back on the shelf and wait another, I don't know, 2 weeks? Probably about 2 weeks. For the stupid header adapters, which, by the way, I bought more than I needed, because I can guarantee you I'm gonna run into this situation again. So I need two. Since there's nothing this is ever going to go into that's got 3.0, I don't know what the hell would have been so hard. If they gave me one adapter, I'd have been fine, because at least then I could plug in two of the three things that I need. I'd be no better than I am now, because I only have two headers on this board, you know, and I need three. But I would have been fine with it. But no! We can't have nice things, can we? No, we can't. So I don't know when the hell I'm going to get back to this, but I was hoping to get it done tonight, and it's not going to get done tonight. So, what a piss-off. And it's no fault of the hardware itself. There's nothing wrong with it. I haven't even got to benchmark it yet. Like, f*** me, dude. I spent I don't know how much money on this, And it's just sitting on a shelf doing absolutely nothing. Because I can't use it because it doesn't fit my needs. Anyway, so I guess I'll be back thanks to the magic of video editing whenever those things show up, and whenever I get the time to actually swap the boards. For real this time. Okay, here we go. Finally. I think I'm using the wrong camera for this. It's been so long since I did this that it's hard to tell. So, doesn't matter. It is getting done now. I've gone ahead and thrown it into this case, which is another one of these Sierratech newer cases. If I remember right, these are actually manufactured by Nvme, these slightly newer ones. I know that the ones that I have a lot of, those ones over there, those are by HEC, but I believe that this is an Nvme case. Either way, it's all in here. Everything is hooked up and ready to go, with the exception of the power supply, of course. We're going to go ahead and actually install this overkill monstrosity. I wasn't going to get this because it's way too big for what I want, but 600 watts was the smallest that I could actually find in store, and this 700 watt was the same price as the 600s. So, whatever, we might as well just go for the 700. It's way overkill, but it's also way future-proof, so I will never, ever be wanting for power in this system. You see the tiny little capture card in there. I am a little bit worried about plugging something into that and having it potentially, you know, end up falling into the case. I'm hopeful that it doesn't do that, but I guess we'll find out. But I gotta get this unpackaged and installed. Alright, power supply is installed. Let's see what happens. Now, the question of the day is, I don't think it does. I thought it had a connection on it, but it does not. It's power on. Okay. That's rather invisible. Let me turn the light off here. Okay, is it going to go any further? I know that these boards tend to not like it when you hit the keyboard like that. This time I'm not going to hit anything on the keyboard. That's a little bit better. Okay. System has posted in safe mode. Nope, I don't really care about that. I'm going to hit Control-Alt-Delete. See what it does. Okay. Here we go. Now we're going into Windows. That's what it should be doing. Okay. Okay, the system is working, however, you can see temperatures. It's just sitting idle. Well, actually, it's not really sitting idle. I'd forgotten that this was actually the K SKU. So it generates a little bit more heat than the non-K SKU. So I was flipping back and forth between whether or not to use this to replace my extremely tired stream encoder computer for low-end radio versus the capture PC down there, which is still working just fine. The capture PC is older, so I think I'm going to replace it. Either way, even forgetting all this, but I have a feeling that with the heat that this thing is putting off, if I put this thing into the very cramped area over here, it may not be able to cool itself properly. So it's going to go there. That's the decision that I've made. So I don't need to make any further changes to the software setup. It should be good to go for everything I need to do with it. Okay. Out with the old, in with the new. See if it works. That's promising. Now, of course, question of the day is, will everything work? Suppose we will find out. Not entirely sure if it's got the proper video driver loaded or not either. I guess we'll have to figure that out. And make sure that, oh yeah, now I'm going to have to adjust the overscan on that because you can see it's half off the screen. Okay, so I gave up trying to get display scaling to work on this with the HDMI. I don't know, it just doesn't work. So, what we've done instead is I've switched it from HDMI to the VGA, which actually looks better than the HDMI for some reason. Yeah, this is a Sharp TV. It's a small TV. It's pretty old as well, and it's not very good. So I may end up going on the lookout for a different TV that's not this. Maybe a little bit newer than this. Or maybe a little bit older. I don't know. But now I gotta get the second system done. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the other case and swap the components in. Okay, here is the system that we will be pulling all of the parts out of. Pretty much everything, including the wow, I just completely drew a blank for some reason. Card reader is going to come with it as well. The power supply is going to stay in this case. I'm not taking that. But everything else is going to come out and be used in the new one. So, let's go ahead and take care of that. Okay, so there's the motherboard installed in the new case, which is one of these HEC CompuCase things, if you were wondering. So, I'm going to have to go ahead and install the SSD. I'm going to have to change this optical drive because if you notice, well, it's going to be hard to plug a data connector into that. So that's going to have to be done, and I'm going to also have to install the card reader. And then all the cards. And then we'll test it, make sure it works. And then we can go ahead and set it up to replace that one. Okay, it is running with everything. But I have made some changes because I realized that this power supply does not have the 6-pin power connector for the video card that was installed. So I said, well, the heck with that. And I put in a different video card. So I'm going to have to redo the driver situation on that, because that's a GeForce card. I also changed the RAM. Not that there was anything wrong with the RAM that was already in it. In fact, there's really no difference. It's just that this is DDR3 1600, and I don't think this system supports that because it was coming up running at 1333. So I just went ahead and put the 1333 stuff in there, because there's no real point in wasting the 1600 if I can't take advantage of it. So we'll let it boot, see what it does. Hopefully it will boot. There we go. Then I'll have to figure out the driver. Okay, HDMI. Well, that's a good sign. Although I think I know what's going on. Here we go. That's a little better. Please work. Are you kidding me? Actually? Really? Is that what we're gonna do? Okay, it's working. I had to change the video card for some reason. I'm gonna run the benchmark score. There's the old scores for those keeping track at home. Okay, as you can see, evidently that Nvidia card is a piece of garbage, but I don't really care as long as it works. There are the two new systems well, the one new system, and then the one relocated system. That's pretty much it for that. So, thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below.